What's happening, guys? My name is OTG and welcome back to the Reload's Journey. We are here at Japan. That's the weirdest pronunciation of a word I think I've ever said. But we, in practice, was in P17. We really didn't have enough time in practice because it started out raining and gradually got dry, and our times were wet times. So it's a little bit difficult to see what our pace is going to be like. But you can see here, we was actually really struggling. We just seemed to not have a good setup in this McLaren. The driving style didn't seem to suit us in this race, and it was a little bit odd because usually I'm okay around this track. And in previous things, Sergio has actually had race wins around here. If you remember last season, he had one of his best races around here. It was a great race with Lewis Hamilton. Coming to the conclusion of the season, which eventually of course he won now, but the defending world champion is not having a great time. You can see now he's down in 19th, he gets himself in 13th, 5 attempts down on Button. It doesn't seem to be good enough, but you can see now coming on into the middle sector, we've already spun there on our first lap, and you can see now, look, back in the gravel, a load of understeer there, lock up on the brakes and on the front left tyre, sorry, and that seems to be this set of tyres out, and I think this could be us out of the session really. We're not going to be able to set another decent time, get in and be able to get the tyres warm, and that actually wasn't good enough to even get us out of Q1. It was the worst qualifying session we've had since probably the first few races, so really disappointing. We're going to have to try and change things from now, you know, look towards the upcoming races in the season and try and have something go on, but this was really a race to forget. For me personally, I'm not going to be remembering this one anytime soon, but yeah, we're down in P17, we've got a lot of work to do. If we want to score some points, I think that's the ultimate goal today. Score points, try and impress some of the other teams and show what we're really made of. You know, Mercedes and Red Bull are top teams at the moment. We'd love to go and drive for Red Bull. You know, maybe go back to Mercedes because that seems to be where we've done our best with our World Championship. Try and get another World Championship, of course. We want to be a double World Champion. It's highly unlikely it's going to happen this season with the poor form we've been on recently. So there's a setup. If you want to pause at any point, I wouldn't recommend the setup at all if you're a McLaren driver. But teammate challenge-wise, we are utterly battering Jenson Button. Of course, in the last episode, we didn't even finish, and it was a really disappointing episode. So getting some points and back on form is probably the most important factor of the upcoming races. So yeah, we're on the grid. Lewis Hamilton takes pole from, I believe it was Sebastian Vettel and Daniel Ricciardo, with Nico Rosberg in 4th. You know, just seeing that thing there, that poor qualifying is not good enough for us. Behind Grosjean, Maldonado, and I think that's Adrian Sutil in the Sauber, as Gutierrez behind us, of course, in P18, so it must be Sutil. We've got 5 lights. We are away now up into rich fuel mixture after the wheels spin, up into gear 2, and we can get ourselves underway. Slipstream as Maldonado gets a great start. Us and Grosjean a little bit late on the power there. We break very late, almost into the back of Maldonado, almost giving him a taste of his own medicine there. There's Kimi Raikkonen who's had a poor qualifying down in 12th, of course, as well. As we go up the inside, up into 10th position, battling side by side, a little bit out, hand in the air moment there to Danny Kvyat. Jenson Button's in the gravel and dirt. We brake testers there. We almost ram into the back. We cut the corner here to avoid any action because it seems to be a bit of a all-over race. Alonso goes really wide there with Bottas. It's a great move around the outside. If we'd have stuck with Bottas there, it would have been a fantastic move. I think Alonso has some early damage though. That's why he was going so slow to take evasive action. It was probably the best decision to make now. As you can see, we're coming up to the next pack. Valtteri Bottas is the next car along. We take that corner well for once. Makes a change now. Coming around there, not getting the best of lines, but you can tell we're a little bit rusty on pace. We didn't really have much time in qualifying to get used and get a good lines, and practice-wise we was in the wet the entire time. So this is a really rusty. We're going to be really rusty going into the race now, and you know, it's not bad though. We're getting away a little bit, but Bottas is pulling away from us, which isn't good enough. You know, P8 isn't the greatest, but we're beating our teammate, which of course is the most important goal. Being equal teammates now, really we should be number 1, but the game's never going to recognise that. As we come round the long slooping left-hander, which we almost get into the gravel now. Lap 4, we've caught up to the back of the pack. There seems to be a slow-moving car up ahead. I'm not sure who it is, but Bottas and Hulkenberg are there as well, and I believe that's Sergio Perez as well. Button's on the back. It's a long train here caused by one car ahead, but it seems he's pulled away a little bit. I think that might be Felipe Massa. Looking at the colour variations, it did look very white, so it could be the Williams, of course. Bottas ahead of us, so it can't be him now. Going into this corner, we're a little bit on the gravel there. That could have ended in disaster. We slowed down the car in time and somehow made our way through that corner as the safety car has been deployed there, and this is going to bunch the pack right up now. It's all down to whether or not someone can do it. We can see now we're very quick on Bottas there. Could have gone for the move, but of course that would have ended in a penalty. Can be a lot wiser than that. Alonso's jumped Button behind us, not the best decision from us really. That little mistake actually has cost Button out as well, so it's a little bit of a shame now. Down to the lean fuel mixture, trying to get us back to optimal fuel mixture, and we'll have to push on with the race. Bottas moving extremely slowly, but the dependent really is whether or not we come into the pits. You can see Bottas ahead of us. He's going very slow, and these tyres aren't lasting very well. predominantly this track is a track where your tyres don't last long enough. They don't last at all. So you need to get the pit stops done nice and early, and then really just try and make the tyres last as possible. If you have a chance of a safety car pit instantly with this track, you have to make the tyres last as long as possible, and Bottas is going extremely slowly. Look how slowly he's going. We're going around the outside of him here. Bottas needs to speed things up a little bit. I know it's safety car conditions, but until you're at the back of the pack, you have to keep at least going at some form of pace. You know, no overtaking of course, but get the pace up. We're in the pits, no other AO cars are, so hopefully we can get a jump on them. With the chance of rain being quite high at this race, we hopefully can get on the options, push. While they're dead, they'll go on to another set of options, and then it will rain and they'll have to pit again, so we can get the double on them. Really, that's the ultimate goal, but it's going to be a push. It's going to be a real push, but you know, maybe we should have gone on primes at the start of the race, maybe mixed it up a little bit. But it's going to be a really interesting to see how things go. You can see Kamui Kobayashi's the next car behind us. Maldonado's ahead of us, who we saw at the start of the race, who was very close to destroying our vehicle, but we were lucky enough not to hit him. So we're down in P17 where we qualified. We got a little bit wide there on the cold tyres, not really judging that one well. Just so you know, when I was recording this, I was a little bit rusty on the game, so it's going to be one of them things where I need to get used to it again. After playing constant GTA, it's been a little bit difficult to get back into the game, but you can see we've got into the train. It feels really weird not being up near the leaders and up in a good battle, but the leader, Lewis Hamilton, is back in the pack up nicely. Spits of rain are beginning to form, as I think they pit on lap 8 maybe, which hopefully they'll be in the pits and then have to pit again for a fresh set of tyres, so we can get a jump on a few cars. That's the ultimate goal though, but it's not going to happen at this rate if they don't get a move on. I think the leaders have now got underway, but we're still going at 57 miles an hour, nearly 60, and it's not good enough for us. We're just getting held up so much, and you can see the cars are beginning to accelerate down. As you can see, Hamilton and Vettel on the minimap, they're already ascending into turn 1, so just shows you the mass gap and how clustered the cars are. There's Pastor Maldonado, we're up his inside already. We ain't waiting for no one. Round the outside of Pastor Maldonado, one of the most aggressive restarts I think we've ever had, but that's a great start as we move up into P16. Pastor Maldonado not getting in our way, and we are off. Here becomes the charge of overtaking cars and trying to get moves done. You can see though we go a decent line in there. We've got more grip than the cars ahead. They're struggling on their tyres, so we can hopefully push, but when it happens to be raining, they are, with the added traction control, are going to dominate us. So we need to really make the most of these opportunities we get now. As you can see, we're pushing forward. Sutil's we're really gaining on Sutil there. He seems to be struggling, of course. McLaren versus the Sauber. It's not really a contest. Lap 7, sorry, already on lap 7 now. You can see we're getting dirty out of Sutil, which has given us dramatic understeer, sorry, up the inside there, braking later, getting the move done on Sutil. We need to get past as many cars as possible now if we want to have much chance of really getting a good position. So we're coming through. We're not going to have DRS just yet. With the rain conditions, we're not going to have any chances really of DRS. Gutierrez is next up. We're going to have to brake extremely late to get the move on him. It's a very difficult corner to get right, this one, especially when you're in these sort of conditions with cars ahead of you there. Gutierrez going extremely slowly there, and we're going to take full advantage. Up his inside / outside for the next corner now. Round we go, and that's a nice move up into P14. We go. Next up is Romain Grosjean, who has a bit of a gap on us thanks to us getting held up by Esteban Gutierrez and Sutil, but we can try and push on to him. You can see there we get a little lock up, which has dramatically changed our just the way we go into that corner, and we're coming into the pits now, so haven't really made it work. We couldn't, if they would have been out for one more lap and it would have been okay whether they would have pitted onto the options, but they're all going onto intermediate tyres, which isn't what we want. Maybe some of them will go onto a fresh set of options, take the risk, but it's not really going to happen. So a 4.3 second as we get minorly held up by Marussia of Max Chilton, that was. So yeah, you can see Gutierrez behind us, and we've actually gained a little bit on Grosjean. So in a way we've gained, but ultimately we have lost out dramatically there. We really shouldn't have pitted, but we're nowhere near where we was originally with Bottas and all that group. Sadly, we're not going to have the opportunity in this race, so coming around this corner, in -1 lap of fuel, we need to push forward and try and catch Romain Grosjean as quickly as possible. I feel that we can really have something if we try our hardest in this race. Grosjean only 1 second up the road. We can try and score just a point maybe. It's going to be difficult. 17 laps to go, 17 full laps to go, of course, as we go extremely wide there. Romain Grosjean, we go past him, but we're going to let Grosjean back past, and there he goes, up into P11 he goes, and we're down in P12. We need to get this position. That's where our optimal position is to try and get, and well, we need to really hope that we can get some gain time on the next car up the road, who seems to be a massive mile away. Of course, not really. He's only a few seconds up the road, but we get past Grosjean around the outside there, who goes extremely slowly into that corner. Into the pits now, lap 11. Not really long on these tyres. We're going to go onto a set of wet tyres. Everyone else is, and going to have to do the norm. And you can see Nico Rosberg in P11, not P10. Sorry, not really realistic. Onto a fresh set of wet compound tyres, the blue tyres, and yeah, there's loads of cars coming in the pits. What can I say? It's just a cluster in the pits when it rains on this game, and it will never dry up. So it's going to be these wet tyres to the end, of course, unless there's another pit stop. We need to gain on Danny Kvyat as quickly as possible. Lap 12. Going to try and do something. Lap 17, no, we've actually gained on him dramatically. You can see on the mini-map, they're going around the long left-hander, and we've gained on Kvyat. There's no real chance of us catching Checo Perez. He's long gone. So it's going to have to be a battle between us and Kvyat for P10 and the last remaining points. McLaren versus Toro Rosso, in theory, we should dominate. But in these wet weather conditions, Danny Kvyat almost gets completely wiped out by us. We just locked up the tyres, and we're going to slow down now. You can see, slowing down, just he's not going. We've slowing down, we're not full acceleration, we're letting him go past, and he doesn't take it. And we're losing too much time, and, well, we've given him the opportunity, and he's wasted it. So we're going to go on, maybe not the fairest of moves, but when you give the AI an opportunity like that to overtake you, you expect them to take it. And Danny Kvyat didn't, and he stuck with us the entire time. He had a few opportunities to get us, but he didn't take them. We've slowed down, I slowed down there, and you can't really, I've gone down by a few gears. I could have gone full acceleration and just gone with it, but I slowed down, and we get P10, maybe a cheeky move there. Give me your opinions. Do you think I should have let him through, just slowed down and stopped? Or in that situation, when you do slow down and the AI don't overtake you because they want to be safe, do you just like wait and wait and wait, or do you just go on and just take it? I mean, of course, it's a little bit of a questionable decision. We've got P10, we've got a point. It's a good result from where we qualified, and also with the poor strategy decisions from the team. Nico Rosberg down in P8 isn't a bad thing either. You know, he hasn't gained dramatic time, and Daniel Ricciardo in 6th, of course. But Lewis Hamilton taking the win isn't optimal, and Sebastian Vettel in 2nd isn't great at all as well. But Jenson Button got a DNF, so beating our teammate once again, which is a good news for us. And you can see the battle for 3rd has definitely heated up. Only 6 points separating Sebastian Vettel to us now. It's close, you know. That race today has really hindered us a lot, and you know, we're going to have to hopefully push forward. We've got Grand Prix legend Sergio Davilo, already one of Brazil's finest drivers and finest talents, and I think that award just sums him up completely. But guys, if you have enjoyed this episode, then please leave a like down below, subscribe for more, comment telling me your opinions on what happened, especially the Danny Kvyat thing, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.